Yeah, Edward.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so I'm going to share my screen and I will show the solution.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is what you want to do. You've declared balance.
Please accept my login.
All right, so you declare a balance. Let's say 1,000. And then you take the user's input, right?
Okay.
You say amount is equal to input, how much do you want to withdraw? Or enter withdrawal amount is the same. Now, you know that this input function is going to return whatever the user enters as a string. So this is the best place because you know you are going to use amount in mathematical expressions. And so this is the best place for you to also cast it to an integer so that wherever you use amount, it is already an integer. There are two ways you can do that. The first way is you can already call int and then wrap it around input. So it means whatever input returns, int will take it and convert it to an integer. Okay?
Yeah.
Or you can do the long one where you can come back here and you say amount is equal to int amount. So on this line, you see, I want to teach you how to reason about your code. On this line, amount is a string because the input function returns whatever the user types as a string. And then when you finish, on the next line, it says amount is equal to int amount. So it's going to think in terms of like how the interpreter is dealing with variables. It sees amount here to check, has this amount been defined? Yes, it is here. Over here is a string. And then you said int amount, and you are storing it back into amount. So it will convert the string that the user entered into an integer and put it here. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, let me see if somebody else wants to connect. So on the first line, amount is a string, and on the second line, you have converted it into an integer. Now, the first problem I see with the code yourself and Rosina showed is that why are you assuming that people always want to withdraw bulk sum of money? What if I want to withdraw 90.5? It's also possible. And you know that integers cannot store fractional parts. So the best data type should be a float. Okay? I think somebody else. Yeah. So now that Rosina is here, I'm going to do the explanation again. I was explaining how like the problems that both of you had in your solution was logical and not syntactical, because your program was running all right, but it wasn't doing exactly what it is supposed to do. And for the two of you, the problems were the same. You didn't arrange your statement correctly. That is how come you can stop a transaction from happening and you still apply the new balance, which is wrong. The next problem that I saw was you were both trying to convert the input into an integer. And I'm saying users do not always want to make withdraw bulk sum of money. Sometimes I want to withdraw, let's say 99.5. And so if you convert the input, yeah. A question?
Basically speaking, ATMs don't allow you to withdraw coins.
Are you sure about that?
Oh yes, 100%.
Okay, all right, fine. But let's just keep in mind that whenever we are dealing with financial things, a float is a better data type.
Okay.
I get the idea that ATMs do not allow you to withdraw. Okay, so in that case, yeah, I am thinking wrong. But then whenever you're dealing with monies, it pays to pay attention to the scenario in which it is being used. So in this case, I think an integer is okay with the correction that you stated. But in other scenarios, let's say you are doing a payroll system or you are keeping track of sales and all that, then some items might have fractional point in them. So you want to use float. Okay, so that makes sense. And I also showed how you can convert your input into an integer so that wherever you access amount is always an integer. The first way is to call int here directly so that the output of the input becomes the input to int. And so it's like this input will return something which will become the input to the int function. So you are nesting one function call in another, which makes your code succinct. Like it is expressive, it is one line. But if you're not okay with this, the next thing you can do is split it into 2 lines. So you just say amount is equal to int amount. So the first amount is a string. And then on this line, you convert the string into an integer so that you can use it in mathematical expressions. If the name is disturbing you, you can just say user input. You can call the first variable user input so that it is what the user typed, okay? And then you can say amount is equal to, you convert the user input into an integer. This code reads much better. All right, so now you have the amount. Then the next thing you want to do is you want to check if you don't need to leave a line. I'm leaving it for readability sake. So you want to check if balance, so there are 2 ways. You can say if amount is greater than balance, or you can check if balance is less than amount. They do the same thing. You get it? Okay. So if amount is greater than balance, then you want to print insufficient funds. Something like this. And then, you can be creative with your output messages. So you can state something like, let me use f string so that you can state something. So you can say current balance, your current balance. So your current balance is, I just want to use a nice text here. So you say insufficient funds, and then you say current balance, and then you show the balance here, and then you can say withdrawal amount. Withdrawal amount is equal to amount. Okay, this is not a complete program yet, but I'm going to run this for you to see how the output looks like. So how much do you want to withdraw? I want to withdraw 1,200. Then it tells me insufficient funds, current balance 1,000, withdrawal amount 1,002. So with this type of output statement, the customer knows why the transaction failed. Okay, automatically he sees that I tried to withdraw 1,002 when all I have in my account is 1,000. So it's okay that this transaction is failing. Okay, now this is where your logic was flawed. If the amount is greater than the balance, just tell him you can't continue and the program should end. It is only when I am doing what is right that you go on to update my new balance. Okay, so over here, we use the else, and then we say new balance. So new balance is equal to balance minus amount. Then you can come on to say, after withdrawing X amount, your new balance is new balance. Your new balance is new balance. Okay, now let's run this program. So how much do you want to withdraw? I want to withdraw 850. I hit enter, and it tells me that after withdrawing 850, your new balance is 150. Is it now clear to you why your program didn't work the way you expected it to work?
Yes.
Rosina, is it clear to you? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So I'm glad you both made those two mistakes, because it has given the opportunity to demonstrate to you that you can have your program to run correctly, but the logic is wrong. It's like you've programmed a lift, and instead of the lift taking somebody up, it takes the person down. Either ways, it is still working. The lift is moving, but the result is not the desired result. Okay? Let's say you are programming an autopilot in an aeroplane, and instead of landing, the plane decides to take off. Yes, your program is doing something, but it's not the desired result. So the correctness of your program is determined by what it is currently doing, matching exactly the desired result, the reason for which your program was written. Okay? So at this point, I'm going to take questions. And whilst I'm taking and answering your questions, I'm going to give you your assignment. The assignment is going to be a build-up on top of this same program. And I'm going to give the description to you now. Now, if you go to the ATM and you try to make a withdrawal, they ask you for your PIN. So I want you to upgrade this program to, first of all, have a PIN check into it. Okay? Now, I will be checking for two things. The correctness of I'll be checking for actually three things. The first is using nice names. So you are using, sensible variable names. The second thing that I'll be checking is using the correct data types. And the third thing that I'll be checking is the correctness of your program. So if I talk of correctness, I mean your program doing exactly what it is supposed to be doing. I'm not just interested in a program that runs. As we sit here, I can write a program to wipe my hard disk. But the question is, to what point? If the desired output is not to wipe my hard disk, and I write a program that runs all right, but ends up wiping my hard disk, then it is not a correct program, because the output is not what was desired. Do you get a point? Just imagine you create a program for a bank, and somebody comes to make a withdrawal, and instead of the program deducting the withdrawn amount from the balance, it rather adds it up. So it's a bank where the more you spend, the richer you become. Who wouldn't want such a bank? And these can happen. Yes, these things can happen if programmers are not concerned about the correctness of their programs. We'll get to the point where we can write automated tests where your program will test itself. It is an important skill to know, but now it's too early for me to show you these things. So I'll teach you as time goes by. But then always have the correctness of your program in mind. Run it with different combinations of input to see what troubles can arise and deal with them before you say, I have finished writing a program. And yes, it does what it's supposed to do. Okay, so now to the assignment. You are upgrading exercise 1 to include checks for PIN correctness. So let me just add it here. So assignment 1, upgrade the program above to check for correctness of PIN. Okay, and then the second thing is you can get your PIN wrong only 3 times. If you enter the PIN wrong 3 times, then your account is blocked. I haven't taught you what you need to be able to do that. And this is also my teaching style. I always give you something higher than what you know. That is the best way to learn. If you're always doing what you know how to do, you never grow. So I like giving assignments that will challenge you to learn something. And I'm going to give you a hint. The hint is just to read about 4 loops in Python. And if you Google for loops, there are a lot of tutorials out there. The whole idea is for you to be a step ahead of me so that in a session, you have questions to ask me for me to answer. Otherwise, if I'm teaching you new stuff all the time, you will not be able to ask me questions. So you want to block the bank account if user enters wrong PIN 3 times. So this, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be your assignment. If you finish the assignment, you can just take a screenshot and post it as a comment on the YouTube link so that I can already see it, because I'm going to post this session. This should be the 3rd session for today, and it's going to be the 6th session for all the times that we have met. So you look for the appropriate video, and once you have answered your question, just take a screenshot. The way to take a screenshot, if you're on Mac, you just press Shift, Command, and 4. When you do that, your cursor is going to turn into what you are seeing on my screen now. And then you can just start at the top corner and drag. So if I do this, I want to see your program code and the output when you run it. So if you do this and you release, you can hear the click sound. And if you go to your desktop, you should see an image that is exactly what you captured. So if you're on a Mac, that is how you do it. And then you paste this as a comment on the YouTube link so that I will get a notification and I will see that, oh, okay, this guy has finished and the thing is working or it is not working. And I also don't want us to reserve the WhatsApp group just for deciding when meetings are going to happen and stuff like that. It should be for, oh, my code is not working. You show the screenshot and then your fellow student will be, I like to see that someone's code is not working and all of you are trying to get it to work. Okay?
Okay.
All right. So any question before we close for today?
Can I see the second question, please? Block the...
Yeah, that's it, right?
Okay, block the bank account if user enters wrong PIN 3 times.
I mean, I can help you by capturing what we have here already, and I'll paste it on WhatsApp. But then you still have this video for reference, so I can come here, Python 101. Let me share this screen. Should be on the desktop. Desktop, images. Looking for this image. Okay, now I'm showing the whole world every information I have on my. Okay, I need to go to desktop, sorry. Yes, so there's the assignment. Okay, all right, so any other question? Okay, so in the absence of any further questions or contributions, I end today's session and I'll see you, God willing, tomorrow. Enjoy.
What time is it tomorrow?
Let's fix it to 4 o'clock.
Okay. All right.
All right, okay. Bye.